Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Grooving and Giving in Early Retirement. I'm Radhika. Thank you for spending your time with me today. On this channel, I talk about living our best life in early retirement, pursuing your passions, giving back to our communities, and the glue that holds it all together, financial freedom. I left my 23-year-long career in the middle of the pandemic to focus on my passion, a childhood for children, a not-for-profit that I started in 2012 to fulfill the basic needs of underserved children. This year, my organization celebrated its 13th anniversary. Wow. Among my other passions is traveling, and I am slow traveling in Venice today. Look at the view behind me of Piazza San Marco. But this video is not about Italy. It is about 44 days in New Zealand's South Island. It was incredibly amazing. We spent 78 days in New Zealand. 44 of those days were in the South Island and 34 were on the North Island. The plan was to travel to the southernmost tip of the South Island to the northernmost tip on the North Island, traversing thousands of miles in a camper van named Orange Lava. Let's get cracking. Now, previously I did a video on how I select my destinations. At a high level, check that video out, but at a high level, personal bucket list, professional needs, charity projects for my NGO, and medical needs. Professional needs, you say? I am married to a freelance photographer, John de Silva, who photographs, among other areas, travel and wildlife photography. The photos in this part of the introduction are John's photos, which, by the way, are available for sale, as are his services. Also, watch his video on the South Island. I'll put a link in the description below. John is a professional photographer and works in Disney World's Fine Arts and Photography Group, where he photographs events, bridals, weddings, family portraits, food, and much more. New Zealand was a professional needs list for John, who needed to rebuild his business after the pandemic and due to changes in his employer's policies. He noticed that his portfolio didn't have much of the Southern Hemisphere, and so New Zealand's beauty called to him. Of course, I was happy to go along, but a camper van? I'm claustrophobic, but I knew he was going to be traveling to some way out of the spot areas to find great photos, so game on. Now here is the route we took on the South Island. Our strategy for this route did take into consideration certain things, which meant we were going to do about 1/3 of the days freedom camping, another third of the days with paid camp spots like holiday parks, so we could shower and cook and do laundry, and 1/3 of the days were going to be part of the Department of Conservation campsite. So we got the campsite pass for the time that we were there. See the link in the description below for the Department of Conservation website, as well as our itinerary. We started our adventure picking up our van in Christchurch on March 27th. So of course it was time to head south. We grabbed a few extra supplies from Escape Rentals, including an extra comforter. 44 days in the camper van definitely seemed a little daunting to me, but as soon as we left Christchurch, I knew this was the only way to see this breathtaking country. We camped in spots that allowed us to visit the beauty of the location right from our van, like in Mount Cook, where we camped for 3 nights. There was snow one whole day, and we got to test our limits of being in a camper van because it was cold. We were wearing all our merino wool gear and sleeping under 2 comforters. Thank goodness we had that second comforter. Our van was pretty basic with no refrigerator. Instead, we had a chili bin, also known as a cooler. And so we put our groceries basically right outside the van at night. Who needs a refrigerator? Depending on the national park, like I said, you're going to have some amenities, and you will have a stove as part of your camper van supplies. We also spent time at Lake Tekapo, one of the bluest lakes I have ever seen. And we parked under an apple tree where we picked apples. Now, while we were in the Lake Tekapo area, we also did the Dark Sky Project and stargazing in the middle of the night. It was amazing. It was an amazing experience because there is so little light pollution in that area that you can really stargaze to your heart's content. But boy, was it cold in the middle of the night. You have to dress very warm. After leaving Lake Tekapo, heading southward, we stopped at the Meraki Boulders Beach to see them, uh, only because they were on the way. Then we stopped in Dunedin to load up with supplies as we were heading southward to Slow Point. Again, there are going to be tourist areas that you may wish to stop, but we didn't spend too much time. We stopped because they were on the way. We had other things to consider. Now, we kept going southward, and after we reached Slow Point, the southernmost tip of the South Island, we then headed west, making our way to Fiordland National Park and making our way to Teanau, and um, making sure that we had enough time in that area. That area is absolutely spectacular. There are a lot of DOC campgrounds along the Milford Road, and you want to give yourself enough time for Milford Sound and Doubtful Sound. And we ended up doing both. We also stayed in a top 10 holiday park because we wanted to, again, like I said, cook and things, and do laundry. So, but the reason you're there in the Fiordland National Park, obviously, is to take in the amazing sights and to then do the sounds, which are really, like I said, areas that require time. After we were done with Milford Sound and Doubtful Sound, we headed over to Queenstown. Now, if you are sort of the sporty person, Queenstown is definitely a place for you. We visited Queenstown, we did Arrowtown, Glenarchy, and Wanaka in this area. Queenstown offers a whole bunch of sporting things like paragliding, hang gliding, hot air ballooning, and things like that. I've been skydiving, I've been hang gliding, and done a hot air balloon. So we passed up on all the sporting activities and focused on things surrounding nature. And again, because this was a work trip, we discovered the Arrowtown area, and the fall colors in Arrowtown were simply vibrant and vivid. I mean, just brilliant. We also went to Glenarchy, and it's a charming little place. And then the big thing that we did was in Wanaka, or near Wanaka, which is the Royce Peak hike, where you trek up and you get spectacular, spectacular views. The hike itself was an all-day event for us, and it was a tough hike because you're kind of going all the way up, 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 and up. So that's another thing that we did. Now, one extra thing I'll mention, and if you get a chance, definitely do it. We had heard a lot about Ferg Burger in Queenstown. It was like, Ferg Burger, got to have a Ferg Burger. So we were like, okay, what's this all about? And had an awesome, awesome burger. So if you have a chance, in Queenstown, check out Ferg Burger. It is absolutely worth it. There is a lot to see in this area. And if you have time and you're slow traveling, you can just take a little bit of time to just slow down. One of the stops was the Cardrona Hotel. It's a really, really old hotel. It's very cute. So we stopped there for a little bit. The other thing that was interesting was the bra drona. It is the wall of bras done particularly for breast cancer. So we made our way to the glaciers, Fox Glacier and Franz Josef glaciers. The glaciers are really pretty and you can hike to them, but I will say this, the glaciers are a little bit at a distance, but again, if you're there, consider going to Fox Glacier and Franz Josef Glacier to see them. After we were done with the glaciers, we made our way to hike Arthur's Pass. Arthur's Pass has great hikes and walks, and those are really amazing. But the bridge to get to Arthur's Pass was in and of itself a marvel. Also, when you're on the hike, at least for us, we saw hundreds upon hundreds of spider webs with light shining right through them. See, this is the beauty of slow travel. You can stop and smell the roses or admire an engineering marvel like a bridge or the delicate and intricate work of spiders. And this is worth taking your time. After Arthur's Pass, we headed east to Kayakora. Kayakora was one of my highlights. In Kayakora, we took the time to swim with wild dolphins. So they do prep you really well. You get a wetsuit, you get training in terms of what you can or cannot do with the dolphins, because keep in mind the dolphins are completely wild. And they also teach you how to get in and out of the boat. So really all good information. This was an amazing experience. The water was super cold. And I mean, it is a shock to your system cold. But it is, once you put your head in the water and you start seeing all the dolphins and you're just part of their pod, it is amazing, and you will forget the cold aspect. So just it's well worth it. It is a little pricey. I think it was 250 New Zealand dollars per person, but so worth it. Economize elsewhere, not on the incredibly memorable experiences. Another unique experience for us was visiting the Kayakora seal colony. There were so many seals everywhere. We got to see a local farmer do sheep shearing. I know that's a very controversial topic, but that's something that we also did. And it really needs to be done ethically and properly without hurting the sheep. Okay, leaving Kayakora and the dolphins behind, we headed to Blenheim, the gateway to the wineries. And boy, did I love this part too. We spent the night near the vineyards, which is my dream, waking up to a sight of beautiful, beautiful vines. We spent a few days there, and then we headed west we were heading to Abel Tasman National Park on the northwest side. But of course, we went through other areas. We camped in Pelorus Bridge, which is a DOC website campsite. Abel Tasman Park, if you can do it, absolutely stunning and worth doing it. You can camp at the national park with your campsite pass, and there's a whole bunch of hikes to do. So we stayed in the park and we did hikes. One day we went right, one day we went left. Absolutely stunning and spectacular. So if you can do that, Abel Tasman National Park, 2 thumbs up. We headed back from Abel Tasman back towards Nelson. Why Nelson? Well, they've got the Pix peanut butter there, and my husband absolutely loves peanut butter. And it was also coming up on his birthday. So, what do you give a guy who loves peanut butter? Well, duh, a visit to Pick's Peanut Butter Factory. This was a super fun thing to do, and I highly recommend it. Now, after that, we made our way to Picton to catch the ferry heading out to the North Island. After 44 days on the South Island, we took the ferry to the North Island from Picton. But first, we took a moment to mail a postcard to ourselves, a souvenir that you don't have to carry around and it won't collect dust. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for participating in the 44 days on New Zealand's South Island. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so that when I post the North Island video, you'll know all about it. Thanks, everyone.